Now, Minister Designate for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Adowfa Safo, is pledging to rebrand witches' camps located mainly in northern Ghana to help fight the menace of women being held in bondage in so-called camps accused of witchcraft. The issue of witches' camps is one that has been extensively covered by Joy News. In this report, we first broadcast in 2020, for example, we highlight the difficulty in integrating these alleged witches.
The Nabuli Witches' Camp. For some, a safe haven where women accused of witchcraft, fleeing persecution, find solace. But for others, this is a dreaded open dungeon where those that are unwelcome in their own homes come to die. This camp has been here for as long as anyone here remembers. Now it is about to shut down. Kuma Awie is one of the last women packing up to leave. Only yesterday, one woman died in this camp. According to the people who knew her, she was well over 100 years old and had been here in this camp for over 30 years. She died of ill health. It is stories like that and many other women who had died in this camp before her that makes that journey of this woman one with mixed feelings. Happy on one hand that she's finally leaving, but also uncertain of the journey that lies ahead. Kuma Awie's story is like that of many who came before her into this camp. Someone in her hometown said she saw her in her sleep trying to cut off her head. That accusation was enough to convict her and force her out of her home and away from her family after hours of beating and torture.
As I'm going home, I am looking forward to the people I know welcome me back home. My stepmother, my grandchildren, my husband, and all the people I used to talk to.
Mma Ble Bala is also leaving the camp, but would not be going back to her home village 18 kilometers away from Nabuli, where she came from 25 years ago. She is choosing instead to live just outside the Nabuli town.
I am not going anywhere. I am happy here. Even in my sickness or death, I will be here. If I die, they can take my remains back home. But as I live, I'd live here.
That's the point that was made in Parliament today. The Dom Kwabena MP, who would be in charge of the ministry responsible for the problem if passed, told Parliament's Appointment Committee that she would take a different approach in trying to deal with this problem.
I chanced on some document which indicated that in Kambaga, which camp, for instance, there are 600 inmates. When they were engaged, only one was prepared to come back home. So I believe that a rebranding of these camps, because as far as the women are concerned, they have found family in these camps. And so I will engage them further.
Minister nominee, a rebranding of the camp, which is camp. So your policy will be to rebrand them.
I know that
it has to do with, you have a background in human rights. It has to do with infractions of human rights, that they are being held hostage because of some people's cultural and social beliefs. So when you use the word rebrand, are you going to promote the detention of supposed witches?
Mr. Chair, definitely not. I indicated that attempts to withdraw these women has proven difficult in the past. That is why I believe that another and a novel approach to dealing with the matter would be more prudent. So if they see it as homes and the ministry supports them with the necessary social amenities that is expected of a state, they are giving food, they are put on leave, and they are giving clothing, I believe that that negative branding as a witch camp will be taken away. And the women also, I intend to go through with them some education on the need for them to also know that these abuses meted on them are not legal, and they can speak out and report to the police as need be. But I think the approach we've used in the past hasn't worked, and so I will look at a new approach which is more collaborative.
Well, is this plan something that will work? We're joined on Zoom by women's rights activist who has been working on this issue in northern Ghana. Ajia Lamnatu is joining us. Ajia, good evening. Well, I want to find out from you, rebranding, is this new approach by the minister designate, that is feasible from your perspective?
Good evening to you and then to our viewers. I think that we will welcome new approaches, but the issue of rebranding, I really thought that she could go further than, so that we can appreciate what she means by that. Because this is about people's culture. This has to do with long-age cultural issue. I don't know whether the rebranding will have to change the name or it will stop the inflow of people to the camp, or perhaps it will stop witchcraft accusation. Maybe I'm not too sure about that.
The point she made before she said that, the point she made before she said that was the women themselves, in the story that Justice Beidou has done, for example, talk about the difficulties they face going back to their families or to their original communities. It looks like they are happier living there, but the problem is the living conditions there are terrible, and that's why she talks about rebranding and making it more habitable for these people. Does that work for you?
Yes. So you've seen that the issue about the witchcraft accusation is not mainly just about the people in the camp. You appreciate that a lot more violations are going on that are outside the camp. Actually, these women really see the camps as safe harbor.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that women do not still want to go back.
Okay.
Now, one thing we need to be clear is that people are doing reintegration with the community of choice. There are a lot of women who say that I want to go back, but probably not from the community in which I was humiliated, in which I was beaten, and probably banished.
Right.
And so we must look at a whole lot of approaches in dealing with this, rather than just focusing on the camp. But then even in the camp, I want to see that there are a lot of social amenities that are not in the camp. We want to see that they are giving, at least now, so that their life at the camp also can be bearable for them.
Okay.
And then also, the issue of rebranding, let me say that the people in the communities in which these camps are designated do not fear these camps, and these camps are not located in cities. I don't know whether people will leave cities and come and live in these designated camps.
Okay.
Or is the people within the community who they will probably put some things in those areas to attract people to live there.
Very well.
But for me, we will welcome ideas, but then what we need to do is to work outside, even in the camp, to making sure that communities are sensitized about the human rights violations that are associated with witchcraft accusations.
Ajia Lamnatu, thank you so much for your time. It looks like a lot more work, a lot more understanding needs to be given as far as this idea is concerned. Thank you.